I still remember the exact moment she said it. We were sitting at a rooftop restaurant, city lights scattered around us like someone had spilled gold across the night. It was supposed to be one of those easy evenings. Food, laughter, soft music in the background. A night where nothing heavy was supposed to happen. But then she looked at me, smiled a little too casually, and said, "My ex thinks you're basic." She said it like she was commenting on the weather. Not like an insult. Not like something that should sting. Just a fact she thought I should know. I remember pausing mid-sip of my drink. Not because I didn't hear her clearly, but because my brain needed a second to decide if I had heard her right. And then I saw him. Across the restaurant. Sitting 2 tables away. Her ex. Watching us. That's when I understood everything. And I didn't say a word. I just nodded slightly, like it didn't matter, and placed my glass down. But inside, something shifted. We'd been together for almost a year. Maya wasn't cruel. At least, not in the obvious way. She was the kind of person who didn't shout or insult directly. She just compared. Subtly. Constantly. Her ex, Ryan, was one of those comparisons that never fully disappeared. At first, I didn't mind hearing about him. Everyone has a past, right? He used to take me to places like this. He had expensive taste. He was very ambitious. It started like background noise. Annoying, but harmless. I told myself it was normal. People carry history. But slowly, I started noticing something else. Every time Ryan was mentioned, I became smaller in the conversation. Not directly insulted. Just reduced. Like I was always one step behind someone I had never even met. And that night at the rooftop restaurant, I finally met him. Not formally, but enough. After dinner, she wanted to say hi to him. That's what she told me. Just a quick hello. No big deal. I should have said no. I didn't. We walked over. Ryan stood up like he had been waiting for this moment. Clean suit. Confident smile. The kind of posture that screams rehearsed success. His eyes scanned me before I even spoke. Then he smirked. "So you're the guy." Not a question. A conclusion. Maya laughed lightly beside me, like this was all playful. And then she added it. The line that still echoes in my head. "He's nice," she said to Ryan. "A bit basic but nice." Basic. Like I was a default option. Like I was something chosen because better ones weren't available. I felt it then, that strange silence in your chest when your emotions don't know where to go yet. Anger, humiliation, indifference. I chose none of them. I stayed still. Ryan leaned back in his chair, amused. "Yeah," he said, looking me over again. "I can see that. And that should have been it. But life has a strange way of circling back. Especially when people think they've already won." What Maya didn't know, what neither of them knew, was that I wasn't just some guy. I was a senior project lead at a tech company that quietly partnered with several firms in the city. The kind of role that doesn't sound flashy at parties, but carries weight where it matters. And Ryan, he worked in consulting. Or rather, he was trying to get back into consulting after leaving his previous firm under unclear circumstances, as I later found out. We didn't discuss work that night, but I remembered his name. People like him always make sure you remember them. 3 weeks later, I got an email. Interview panel invitation. Senior consultant role. The applicant name. Ryan M. I stared at the screen for a long time. I didn't smile. I didn't react. But I knew something important had just landed in my lap. The interview day arrived quietly. Ryan walked into the room like he owned it. Same smirk. Same confidence. Same assumption that life would keep bending for him. He didn't recognize me at first. Or maybe he pretended not to. I was seated at the panel. Resume in front of me. But I already knew everything I needed to know. The interview started normally. Qualifications. Experience. Projects. He spoke smoothly, like someone who had practiced sounding impressive more than actually doing impressive things. Then came the questions. I asked one simple thing. Tell me about a time you handled accountability under pressure. A pause. A slight shift in his seat. And then he said something I'll never forget. I've always worked best in environments where leadership understood my value. It wasn't an answer. It was deflection. Then he added, almost casually, honestly, most teams I've worked with were pretty basic. My hand tightened slightly on my pen. Not because I was offended. Because I understood him completely now. People like Ryan don't grow. They reposition blame until it looks like success. The interview ended shortly after. He walked out confident. He thought he had done fine. He didn't even look at me properly when leaving. He still didn't recognize me. That was the moment I realized something simple. He didn't see people. He saw ranks. The rejection email went out the next day. No drama. No explanation. Just a clean, professional, we've decided to move forward with other candidates. But what happened after that wasn't in my control. Because Ryan made a mistake. He complained. Publicly. On LinkedIn. He posted about unfair hiring practices and incompetent panels wasting candidates' time. He didn't mention names, but he hinted enough. And people in the industry talk fast, especially when someone in the hiring panel actually reads what you wrote about them. Maya found out the same week. She called me unexpectedly. Her voice wasn't playful this time. It was uncertain. Did you have anything to do with Ryan's rejection? I didn't answer immediately. I didn't need to. She already knew. I didn't know you were on the panel, she added quickly, like that made everything less complicated. But it didn't. That was the point. There was a long silence. Then she said something softer. I think he's upset. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was predictable. I'm sure he is, I said. Another pause. And then, quietly, why didn't you tell me? That was the real question. Not about Ryan. Not about the job. About everything I had stopped saying. I thought about the rooftop restaurant. About basic. About how easily I had been reduced in front of someone I was supposed to matter to. And I realized something I hadn't admitted to myself yet. I didn't stay silent that night because I was calm. I stayed silent because I was done competing for respect I shouldn't have had to earn. I didn't think it was worth discussing, I finally said. That line changed everything between us. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Permanently. Ryan didn't get the job. But more than that, he didn't get the narrative he was used to living in. The one where he was always the smartest person in the room. A week after the rejection, I heard through mutual contacts that he had been removed from consideration for another firm as well. Not because of me directly, but because of the LinkedIn post. Because people who blame everyone else eventually expose themselves. And in this industry, reputation moves faster than resumes. Months later, I ran into him again. Coincidentally. Coffee shop. Rain outside. He saw me first this time. No smirk. No confidence. Just recognition. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to say something sharp. Something dismissive. But it didn't come. Because now he knew. And that knowledge did something no rejection email ever could. It made him sit with himself. Finally. Maya and I didn't last long after that. Not because of Ryan. But because of what that night revealed about how she saw me. Or didn't see me. Sometimes, the real breakup doesn't happen in arguments. It happens in moments like that rooftop dinner. When someone decides your value out loud. And you realize you've been listening too long. I don't think Ryan is a bad person. But I do think he learned something the hard way. Respect isn't something you assign to people like labels. And silence isn't weakness. Sometimes, silence is just the last thing you hear before life answers for you. And when it does, it doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just closes doors you assumed would always stay open.